Sunday Dhamma Talk.
Welcome, listeners. I'm Prakru Badika Dr. Barton Yanatiro from the United States. I'm going to interview Dr. Phra Rajyanvisith, the abbot of Wat Long Sodh, Dhammakayaram, in Damnon Sarawak district of Ratburi province, Thailand. Dr. Phra Rajyanvisith is an eminent Thai meditation master and Buddhist scholar, dedicated to revitalizing Buddhism, with equal emphasis on academic study and meditation practice. Today we're going to study the details of Lord Buddha's Enlightenment and its lessons for us. Dr. Phra Rajyanvisith has led Wat Long Sodh to become a center of excellence in both meditation practice and academic studies. The temple trains over 20,000 participants annually. It is a provincial school of Pali education and a provincial Buddhist meditation institute. And it also serves as a center for both Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya University and the World Buddhist University. We're very privileged to have Dr. Phra Rajyanvisith with us. Venerable Sir, we bid you welcome. To begin with, please tell us how our Bodhisattva came to be born as Prince Siddhartha.
Our Bodhisattva was awaiting his proper time in the Dusita celestial world. He decided to be reborn when the average human age was about 100 years, and selected Sri Mahamaya, the queen of King Suddhodana of Kapilavatthu, as a very pure mother. He left the celestial world on the full moon day of the 8th lunar month, Asalaha, to be reborn in both human form and Dhammakaya essence. Dhammakaya is the pure essence of virtues, which he had accumulated through realizing factors of perfection. He remained in his mother's womb longer than normal, a full 10 months. 5 days after his birth, 100 Brahmins performed the naming ceremony, naming him Siddhartha Gautama. All predicted he would be either an emperor or a Buddha, except the youngest Gondanya, who insisted that he would definitely become a Buddha. His mother passed away when he was 7 days old, and King Suddhodana assigned his aunt, Pranang Pachabadi, to raise him. The king worried that his son might relinquish royalty for a religious life, so built him 3 palaces to maximize sensual pleasure during each season. When Prince Siddhartha was 16, King Suddhodana arranged his marriage with Prince Pimpayasodhara, who was the daughter of King Supapuddha of Devaktaha, and Queen Amita, who was King Suddhodana's youngest sister.
How did Prince Siddhartha come to renounce his royal birthright and become an ascetic?
Although indulged and sequestered, the young prince learned about the reality of life on various outings with his Saritirachana. He saw an old man, sick man, and a funeral procession, and recognized that birth inevitably leads to old age, sickness, and death. He realized that he and all his relatives would eventually suffer the same fate. He also noted that when there is darkness, there is also brightness. Everything has its opposite. Therefore, suffering must also have its opposite: non-suffering, or no old age, no sickness, and no death. He concluded that there must be some practice for reaching that state. On one outing, he saw an ascetic who was actually a celestial being appearing to show him the way out of the sensual enchantment which binds humans to endless cycle of rebirth. At age 29, Prince Siddhartha had a son, Rahula. When he heard of the birth, he felt overburdened. If he were to discover the practice leading to liberation from suffering and death, he must leave the palace. He arrived at the firm decision to renounce royalty and become a religious hermit. He left the palace silently at night with the charioteer Channa and his white horse Kantaka. At the Anoma river he ordained himself, cutting off his hair with his sword. He threw the hair into the air, saying, "If I am to be enlightened, may it not come down." Celestial King Sakka, also called Indra, cut the hair to display in the Mahachulamani Pagoda in Dawding's heaven. Thus it never came down. Some of this hair can now be seen at Wat Longpasot on special occasion. Katika Brahman, who had been a friend of Prince Siddhartha during Buddha Kassapa's era, and now lived in the Afghanita Brahman world, provided a robe and bowl to complete the ordination. Prince Siddhartha sent Channa back to the palace with his horse and ornament, saying, "Tell my father that I have ordained to put an end to old age and death, not because I yearn for heaven or feel no affection for him. Do not grieve for me." After ordaining, Prince Siddhartha studied meditation with hermit Alara Kalamakot. He quickly learned the 7 jhanas taught, and hermit Alara invited him to stay on to teach others. He rejected this offer in order to continue his study. Next, Prince Siddhartha studied with the hermit Uttaka Ramabuddha and quickly mastered the 8th jhana. Hermit Uttaka also invited him to stay on and teach, but he again refused, feeling the need to study further. The Bodhisattva found that the knowledge he had gained was still not sufficient for attaining release from over 3 worlds: the human worlds of sensual desire, the form Brahman world, and the formless Brahman world. He saw that even though the highest formless Brahman beings live a very long time, they still eventually die and fall back into the same cycle of rebirth. Therefore, he decided to undertake self-training to reach higher knowledge of release. He went to Uruvela state and settled near the village of Senanikom, where there was a proper place to practice meditation and to collect alms. 5 hermits, led by Gondanya, the youngest Brahman at his naming ceremony, followed Prince Siddhartha to serve him. Initially, Prince Siddhartha practiced the extreme measures of self-torture, which were the techniques accepted among hermits at that time for getting rid of passion. He almost died and realized that he would not get enlightened in this way. He was aided by the vision of celestial being demonstrating the tightening of a string on a lyre. When the string is too taut, it may break, and when it is too loose, it doesn't make music. Thus, adopted the middle path between the 2 extremes of self-torture and indulgence. A lady named Sujata from a nearby village brought him a golden bowl of milky rice, and he decided to eat. When he ate, his 5 hermit followers thought that he had given up and left him, going to Isipatana Deer Park in Benares province. When Prince Siddhartha was left alone to meditate without distraction, his meditation became better and better as his body became fresher and stronger. He went to the Neranjara river and set the golden bowl adrift, wishing that if he were to be enlightened, the trade should flow upstream. It did.
Now, please tell us about the night on which Lord Buddha became enlightened.
On the day before his enlightenment, the Bodhisattva collected alms, bathed, and rest. In the evening, he sat down under the Bo tree, making a comfortable seat with grass from a grass cutter named Sodh. He wished that if he were to be enlightened, he might see his transparent throne, and he saw it. This gave him confidence. He sat under the Bo tree, facing east towards the river, with his back against the tree. Then he resolved that he would not get up until he attained enlightenment, even if his flesh and blood dry up. In the first 4-hour watch of the night, he began by concentrating his mind up to the 4th jhana to make it perfectly concentrated and free from 5 hindrances, which are laziness, tinamida, doubt, vichikicha, ill will, payapada, restlessness, utthaja kukucha, and sensual desire, kamachanda. He suppressed each of these with corresponding jhana factor. The jhana factors are applied: thought, vitaka; sustained thought, vichara; joy, piti; peaceful happiness, sukha; and one-pointed concentration, ekaggata. Then he was ready to develop supernormal knowledge and right understanding. Once in the 4th jhana, he made the wish to recall past lives. When this was well developed, he could see uncountable past lives, not only his own, but the past lives of all world beings. He saw them being born and going through old age, sickness, and death, and then reincarnating again endlessly. A few are reborn into happy worlds, such as the human, celestial, or Brahman worlds. Most, however, go to suffering worlds, such as the animal or hungry ghost worlds. Within the human realm, or the demon or hell worlds, which are beneath Mount Sumeru, these worlds are invisible to the human eye. Almost all of the universe is so refined that it cannot be seen with naked eye. Our human world is just one little part of the world. Lord Buddha's enlightenment was like scientific research. He developed his mind to be a very powerful, effective, and efficient instrument for observation, like the doctor's microscope or astronomer's telescope. He developed supernormal seeing, hearing, and touching. Lord Buddha used this to see the reality of nature as it really is. With his supernormal vision, he saw all world beings and all worlds, down to the lower depth of the universe. In conclusion, during the first watch of the night, Lord Buddha saw the past. He saw the whole universe with all its various types of beings, and saw that all of these are caught up in the endless cycle of death and rebirth. He also saw that most world beings get reborn into the suffering worlds. This led him to feel great compassion for all sentient beings. Having seen this as the true nature of reality, Lord Buddha asked himself, why is it like that?
What did the Bodhisattva do during the second 4-hour watch of the night?
During the second watch of the night, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., Lord Buddha again began by meditating up to the fourth jhana to make his mind pure of hindrance. He made a wish to see why world beings after dying are reborn into various worlds, mostly suffering worlds. He asked, what is behind this? Why do these things not practice the best conduct to get free? He wished to follow individual beings from the past through the present and into the future, to enable him to see the cause and effect of past actions, leading to rebirth in either suffering or happy worlds. He learned that life is change. Everything is impermanent. The whole world and all world beings are always subject to change. This change is in accordance with the good or bad action. Human life changes based on quality of human actions. World beings commit some good and some bad action in each lifetime. Thus, being in happy worlds are sometimes happy and sometimes not. But they were always subject to old age, sickness, and death. Even those in the Brahman and formless Brahman worlds, formless Brahmans may live to see 2 or 3 Buddhas, but in the end, they still pass away. Lord Buddha saw 5 major causes of rebirth in the suffering worlds. Number 1 was intentionally killing other world beings. Number 2 was theft. Number 3 was adultery. Number 4 was telling lies. Number 5 was addiction to intoxicants. World beings who acted improperly received suffering as the result, either during the present life or after dying. Bad action were the essential cause of being reborn into the suffering worlds. To conclude, in the second watch, Lord Buddha saw the natural law of cause and effect, the law of karma, that all world beings get reborn in accordance with their good or bad behavior. He saw directly how past actions influence the present and the future.
And what did he do during the third watch of the night?
In the third watch of the night, Lord Buddha again began by beginning his mind to the fourth jhana to free himself from hindrance and gain supernormal vision. Then he began to analyze in detail the vast store of reliable and valid data that he had obtained with his very pure and efficient supernormal observation. He had already obtained the necessary and sufficient data. Now he began to analyze it in depth, seeking the root cause of suffering and the practice for liberation from suffering. He discovered dependent origination with ignorance as the root cause of suffering. Ignorance caused delusion, passion, and craving, which, in turn, caused rebirth in new worlds. If bad, it inspires the mind to bad conduct, which causes rebirth in suffering worlds. For those who do good, but still have ignorance, the ignorance caused them to be reborn in happy worlds. But when they die from there, they may be reborn in either happy or suffering worlds, according to their previous conduct. There are 3 aspects of ignorance. First, not knowing the past or the future. Living in this world is like a chicken inside an egg who never sees the outside. We don't know where we were before becoming human, and we even don't know what will happen tomorrow, much less after we die. The second type of ignorance is no knowledge of the causes of suffering, detailed above as dependent origination. The third type of ignorance is no knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. In conclusion, in the third watch, Lord Buddha analyzed the root cause of suffering and penetrated through the Four Noble Truths.
Specifically, what lessons should we draw from Lord Buddha's enlightenment to apply in our daily lives?
Lord Buddha's quest was not mere academic analysis. He set out to conquer suffering, old age, sickness, and death. Thus, his analysis formed the foundation for his formulation of solution. There are 4 key lessons that we should learn and apply in our daily lives: the Ariyasat, or Four Noble Truths, Sila, or moral precepts, Sumati, or concentration meditation, and Vipassana, or insight meditation. The first lesson is the Ariyasat, or Four Noble Truths, which encompass both the analysis of the problem and formulation of the solution. They provide the right understanding that life is suffering and the revelation that there is a way out. The first noble truth is the realization that world beings are suffering. This insight is necessary to awaken us out of our habitual passion and complacement, enchantment with the sensual pleasures of life. They are all temporary and inevitably lead to discontentment, dissatisfaction, disappointment, distress, and despair when they end. This is ordinary nature of human suffering that we can all understand. In addition, Lord Buddha saw that most humans will be reborn in suffering worlds, such as he saw life as suffering. Thus, he saw life as sufferings in a higher transcendental sense. The second noble truth analyze the causes of suffering as noted above, and the formula of dependent origination. Ignorance causes delusion, passion, craving, which in turn cause rebirth. The third noble truth is the revelation of a way out to a state of non-suffering, nirvana. This provides the hope, optimism, faith, and motivation to find and follow that way. Incredibly, Lord Buddha has shown the path to overcoming the universal problems of life, old age, sickness, and death. You can experience nirvana for yourself, like our other meditators, but most world beings will never meditate and never reach that experience. The fourth noble truth is the Eightfold Path, detailing conduct leading to the cessation of suffering: right view, samma titi; right thought, samma sankappa; right speech, samma vacha; right action, samma kammanta; right livelihood, samma achiva; right effort, samma vayama; right mindfulness, samma sati; and right concentration, samma samadhi. The second lesson is sila, or morality, avoiding evil and cultivating good. Proper conduct is good action, speech, and thought. At a minimum, avoiding taking life, stealing or cheating, and adultery. Positive actions including treating others with loving kindness and compassion, being helpful, and sacrificing one's own property, time, or knowledge to help others. Proper speech is avoiding lying, tale-bearing, harsh language, and useless talk or gossip. Positive speech including being truthful, sincere, polite, helpful, and encouraging, fostering unity, and giving good advice. Proper thought is avoiding greed, hatred, and delusion. Positive thought includes generosity, loving kindness, and developing mindfulness, wisdom, and insight. proper action, speech, and thought in accordance with Lord Buddha's teaching leads to permanent happiness rather than the temporary happiness which comes from sensual pleasure. The third lesson is Sumati or concentration meditation, raising the level of consciousness through state of absorption or jhana to eliminate hindrance and see clearly with the mind. This can develop the supernormal vision, hearing, and touching, which Lord Buddha used to investigate the true nature of reality. The fourth lesson is vipassana, or insight meditation, which reveals ultimate truth. Most important are three supernormal fields of knowledge or vichara, which Lord Buddha utilized to reach enlightenment. We can follow his example to attain transcendent insight. The first vichara is puppe nivāsa-nusatiyāna, remembrance of the past life, which Lord Buddha pursued during the first watch of the night. The second vichara is the Jutupatayana, knowledge of the death and rebirth of all beings in accordance with the law of karma, which Lord Buddha practiced during the second watch of the night. The third vichara is the Asavakayana, the knowledge of how to eradicate mental defilements, which Lord Buddha employed during the third watch of the night to achieve enlightenment. Clear discernment with this vipassana insight can enable us to follow Lord Buddha's example to higher knowledge.
Thank you very much, Dr. Phra Rajyanvisith. You have not only shown that Lord Buddha's methodology for attaining enlightenment represents a sort of improved scientific method, but have also extracted the specific lessons for us to follow.
Thank you all for joining us. May Lord Buddha be with all of you.